Hello, my name is Nicholl. Thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today I am talking about denial, the evil of denial. Now, there is the kind of denial where one will question you on whether you did or didn't do something, and you will deny it because you're telling the truth. I wasn't there. I didn't participate in that. I seriously do not know what you're talking about. No, I did not have anything to do with that. You might want to ask so-and-so. Okay? But for those who have been repeatedly lied to, those that have often been in arguments where denial has taken place over and over again, it is hard for these types of individuals to believe when you are telling the truth. So they're going to ask questions in various ways. They're going to even use other people to ask you similar questions. They're going to come up with all sorts of traps just to see if you're telling the truth. Now, sometimes God's people get very defensive and angry when this happens because they have worked for so long and continue to work to walk the righteous path, to do what is right, to listen to the Lord. And then along comes someone asking them a question, and they assume that the individual trusts them. God says you're going to go through the fire anyway. You're going to have that trial come upon you anyway, sooner or later. You are going to feel like after all these years, you're still questioning me on this. This is crazy. This is ridiculous. I can't believe you are even going there. You're going to have those moments. And some of you all will chalk it up to nothing more than the enemy using someone to get next to you. Others will say, well, it's part of their job. If you're in the workplace or in some type of group, you know that there's going to be some testing. So you might as well just brace yourself for it, because we don't know you and we don't know if you're really an honest person or not. I mean, we've seen a lot of folks come in and, shake hands and smile and give us some paperwork and tell us that this is accurate and this is truthful and everything. And then we do some investigating and we find out they're liars. Okay, so we're going to have to test you. We're sorry. And sometimes people will reduce you down to tears. But it is what it is. It has to happen because we live in a world where much evil takes place and people will deny things very quickly. Very quickly, good as well as ugly folks, to put it nicely. So let's talk about the ugly folks. Let's talk about the wicked folks, the children of darkness, the ones who are very quick to say what they didn't do, where they didn't go. We see this a lot in the media. A politician is asked a question. An athlete is interviewed on a controversial subject matter. We also see this sort of thing if we're a part of groups where right away the response is, no, I'm not aware of that. No, I wasn't there at the scene. No, that's not my clothes. No, I don't know what you're talking about, you see. And so some folks who are not very good at reading body language, and they definitely don't have a spiritual gift of discernment, they're going to go along with whatever that handsome or attractive or rich looking individual, or even poor type of individual will say. Well, I mean, what does he gain from telling a lie? I mean, he already doesn't have anything, or he's already broken, or, he's so handsome. He's got all these women. He's got money. He's got homes and everything. I mean, why would he even bother to feel like he had to be dishonest? I mean, really, come on now. Let's not look too deeply into what we're seeing. And besides, you know how our society is. It's so prejudiced. It's so strange. There's weird people everywhere. You know, somebody probably has it in for them because, well, you know, he was into this, that, and the other. God doesn't want us being like everybody else. Notice that little example that I gave you is very common. It's very common for people to sit back and just right away not believe someone or believe someone, depending on what their personal beliefs are. If they haven't been through much, right, and they haven't been around a lot of folks that lie, or they're not much on trying to study individuals, they're going to take whatever first pops up in their mind. He's attractive. Believable. She has a lot of money. Believable. No reason to lie. But there are always reasons to tell a story. There's always reasons to deny something. There are those reasons that we're all aware of, and then there are those reasons that no one has a clue, because somebody is trying to be 2 steps ahead of someone else or some group. Okay, so they're going to come up with a story in their head if you press them. A good researcher, a good interviewer, what have you, is going to keep pressing in. One who wants to believe whatever about someone is not going to keep asking a question in 150 different ways. They're not going to do it. They're not going to go and investigate. They're not going to try to come up with some type of proof to show everyone that this person right here loves to lie, or this person right here has something to hide, or this person has some beef with someone else, or is covering up something, or doesn't want you to know certain things, because if you know certain things, you're going to ask more questions. And some folks, they don't like questions because they know that at some point they're going to reveal who they truly are. So it's always better in their little world to say, I don't recall, I don't know, stop asking me. But see, for some folks, they will become increasingly defensive, increasingly irritated, very mean. They will even attack back. What is all of that for? Why would you take something little and blow it up into something huge if you're not guilty? But I really wasn't guilty. Well, then you're going to have to do more than just repeat over and over again that I'm not at fault. I'm not at fault. I don't know why you keep asking me these questions. You're going to have to disprove whatever it is that the individual has on you. And the truth of the matter is that when a person is caught in a corner, having told a bunch of lies, they can't come up with anything. All they can do is come up with more lies. All they can do is continue to deny things. I didn't say that. I don't know why you keep asking me that. This is how it happened. And every time you ask them on a different day, the story keeps changing. You see, people that are like us, who question and who dig for stories and who talk to other folks and who do research and uncover lies from like 10, 15, 20 plus years ago, we're not liked. They don't like us coming. Because you're going to use your education for more than just a paycheck. You know what I mean? Some of you all, you do more with your education than just work. And God bless you. Because we need more people that use their education, their skills, their talents for more than just showcasing things on the internet or talking to folks in social circles or bragging about what they know, but not using any type of skills to get the job done, or just using their skills exclusively for a job that they're getting paid to do. You know, there are plenty of folks like that who know, I turn off all spiritual discernment once I walk out the church, because, everybody deserves a little privacy and we can just allow some folks to just continue in their mess of lives. Well, it's okay as long as it's not affecting you, right? As long as it's not affecting you, it's okay. That person can lie until they're blue in the face. But then when that demonic spirit moves on someone around you to start lying and covering up and denying and blaming and everything else, now you're concerned. You're very concerned. And some of you all who don't have a spiritual gift of discernment is asking, Lord, could you send some people over to me, please? In Jesus' name, that'll pray for me, because I don't know what I'm listening to, and I don't know if this person is telling me the truth from one day to the next. Gladly, the church says, we will be more than happy to pray with you, for you, and around you, and ask that the angels of the Lord come upon you and protect you, and also, most of all, give you the gift of spiritual discernment so that you can be able to discern fact from fiction, truth from the lie. You walk with the Lord long enough. This is another area that you end up in at some point. Now, those of you all who listen to the one message about how God will unveil the viper and the python spirit, and then others who have listened to previous messages dealing with exposing family members and friends and so forth, and then those who have been more discerning when it comes to the media, well, this is yet another thing that you need to focus on, is learning how to identify when someone is telling you the truth and when somebody is telling you the lie. When someone is running a game on you, Christian, because when you first make that announcement to someone that you are a believer, there are going to be those that are going to gravitate to you because you're like them. Yes, I'm a believer. You're a believer. Yay. Okay. But then there are going to be those that are looking at you and they're saying, okay, well, what kind of believer? Is this the sold out kind? Is this the backslider kind? Is this the, I put my religion on the shelf when I'm in a fight kind? I mean, they're sitting back and they're watching to see where your weaknesses are. And then what they're going to do is they're going to play into those weaknesses. And when they play into those weaknesses, okay, they're going to, at some point, use what they know to get whatever it is that they want. And my heart goes out to the young believers that are not the least bit discerning at all and are still fresh, because those wolves in sheep's clothing, they come around. I know that I got caught in those early years. They come around and they smell you and they see you and they, recognize that, wow, this one is really excited about Jesus. This one is really generous with their money. This one is really going here, there, and everywhere, on the whole Christian crusade. Okay. And then what they do is they sit back and they watch and see how much you're willing to give up. And then if they have been in the game of darkness for quite some time, they know how to pull you up out of the light and get you to go along in their dark world, funding it, supporting it, donating to it, working for it, and anything else. They sit back and they watch. You're weak. You're weak to the opposite sex. Let me send somebody over there that, will tempt you a bit. Yeah, because I can tell from your Facebook posts that you're still weak in that area. And let me see. What else are you weak in? Well, you did admit to the fact that you were once a lesbian or a bisexual or a homosexual, or you enjoyed, dressing up as a woman or a man. Let's see if we can pull that weakness back out of you, shall we? So they start reminding you of your old way of life. And then they look and they see sometimes you tend to vent. You tend to vent about a lot of stuff related to a mother or a father or a brother or a sister or what have you, right? So then they go and they come up with something and they, play with your mind a bit or what have you. Now, here's the interesting thing is that if you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar, right? What are you going to do? You're going to deny. Maybe not all of you all. Some of you all will say, yeah, I take full responsibility. I know I was wrong in this. The enemy can't do but so much with you because now you're putting it all out there. Yep, I was over there at such and such place doing such and such. Okay? Yeah. And so that might affect certain connections and opportunities and everything else. But not everybody drops off because they know they've been weak a time or two. But then, if you don't speak truth and you want to continue to play the game of, I don't know what you're talking about and I never was and I never could have and somebody framed me and it's all a bunch of hogwash and all that, you want to play that game. The Lord will remove his spirit from you and he'll let the enemy have his way. And he'll keep allowing the enemy and his minions to have their way until one finally says, you know what? Okay, I admit it. I'm sorry. Okay, I was guilty. I got a taste of that in the 3rd grade when a teacher decided that she wanted to expose me on some foolishness that I did. Now, she wasn't altogether accurate in her assumption, but she was accurate on part of it, but she wanted me to agree to all of it. And I went back and forth with this teacher, only 8 years old, until she broke me down to the point of tears. And then I just went on and I stopped defending the part that she was wrong on, defending myself on the part that she was wrong about. And I just went on and I just accepted everything. Okay, yeah, all right. I was kicking and I was acting up right along with the boy. Okay. The part that she was wrong about was that I was the instigator in the matter because, see, by the time she turned her back, the boy had already hit me or turned around. The boy had already hit me with his foot. So when she turned around, she seen my foot up, you see. But she didn't see the time when the boy had been kicking at me. And so it's funny because many years later, you see how you recall things, you remember. And some of you all, you may be dealing with the youth and you may be telling them to admit to this, admit to this, admit to this. Okay. Now, if there's a part of the story that you're unaware of, it would make sense to be quiet and just listen. And then find necessary proof or, observe a person or spend some time just watching to see if what they say is completely accurate and look at other folks that were involved, observe them, see where they're guilty and see where they're innocent, and then you can, of course, come up with your conclusion. But when you come at folks in a way where you want to be solely right, and that you were there and you saw everything when you know that is not true, then there's an issue there as well. And what some people will do when you approach them and you tell them, listen, you were not there and you didn't see everything. What they like to do is try to formulate their words in such a way where they got just enough. You see. So they're denying and they're lying and they're not being completely honest when they present themselves as if they saw the whole thing when they really didn't. Sometimes you can be quick-tongued and speak too fast. Yeah, I was there and I saw this and that. But then the minute you catch yourself saying something and you're not 100% accurate, you've got to go ahead and say, okay, I messed up on that. Now, if you couldn't catch yourself because you were talking too fast or whatever, it happens. Then there's always somebody around that's going to say, there was this part where you kind of messed up, and I don't know if you meant to say that, but this is how it came out, and then they can put their necessary update or, make a change or, help you out with whatever you said or whatever you did. You see, that's just the good Christian thing to do. But you got some folks who they like to watch you sink, you see, because you're a believer and I don't really like you. And so, yeah, you just hang yourself, because sooner or later you're going to hang yourself. And then we're going to be there to take what you say and blow it all up, you see, and make it into some huge thing, because we don't like your type. And because, well, you speak too much truth and you're on a roll. You see, this sort of thing can happen when you're at home with your family, minding your own business, and then you're brought into some issue that you really didn't want to be a part of. And now someone is sitting up there saying some stuff about how they don't know what you're talking about. And all you're doing is trying to resolve a situation. But everybody in the room wants to tell a lie or tell a half story, or I wasn't there and I don't know what you're talking about. You see. And then now you've got to be the investigator, the lawyer, the doctor, the forensics expert and everything else to get down to the truth. And you have to do that if you're a believer. You have to. There's some times when you have to get your hands dirty, especially when you're living in an atmosphere where you're seeing a pattern of lies going on. Whether those lies are coming from a partner, children, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, a roommate. At some point, you can't keep letting this stuff just keep going. You just can't. Because what you do is you end up allowing the enemy to have a foothold in your household. You allow the enemy to have a foothold in your workplace if this sort of thing continues to go on. This is why there's managers and supervisors and bosses and everyone else, human resources, because they are there to manage situations. They are there to take care of whatever is causing much confusion. People who like to deny a lot, they will become very angry over time, and they will eventually look to attack the whistleblowers and the truth tellers and those busybody Christians and, the detective sleuth kind of mom, or the wife or the husband that's very discerning. They don't like those kind of people. And you know that you still have a lot of work that needs to be done within you if you are still feeling that way about individuals who expose. Because God's people should not, over time, you should not be feeling angry toward people who are speaking truth and are exposing lies. You really shouldn't. You should be looking at the truth for what it is and not trying to defend the manipulator, the pimp, the player, the hustler, the murderer, or anyone else. You should be right there in the group saying, you know what? There's enough evidence, there's enough proof, there's enough information that, hey, this person is guilty of sin. This person is wrong. Period. No, I'm not going to talk about that time when I was just like them, or I'm not going to get into all of that, because, hey, God can deliver that person just like he delivered me. But in the meantime, we got to get these things taken care of. We've got to stick to business. We've got to focus on the facts, and the facts are A, B, and C. And that's what you want to do, believer, when you are in these settings where everybody wants to deny and they want to try to make you look like you're crazy and you don't know what you're talking about. You got to stand your ground. And if you got to go to the ends of the earth to get truth and bring it, then so be it. A lot of folks have lost their lives as a result. But one thing about it, we don't need to bow our heads and be sad about it. God used them. He used them mightily. And people were changed and people drew near to him as a result. We should be rejoicing in that. Not rejoicing in the death, not rejoicing, Lord Jesus. We don't want to rejoice in the death, but grieving over the death, we should be rejoicing over the life and over the things that individual has done. Now, of course, if there is some rejoicing over death, it would be if the person has suffered much illness, something along those lines, and they were, saying things like, I just want to go home. I just want to be with Jesus. Then that's a different story altogether. because the road got too hard exposing this one and that one that like to lie and deny and blame and all that. So anyway, this particular message is to encourage those of you all who are constantly in those types of battles with people who don't believe certain things, and they're always feeling like they got to defend their selves, and they like to crazy make and tell lies and blame and deny and use various power and control tactics to shut you down, shut you out, keep you away. You're not welcome here. This is what this message is all about. It's to just encourage those of you all who you just hate feeling that way, and you hate having to fight so much about different things. But when God gives you the green light, to get the proof, to stand on the truth, and to use other folks to witness to various people or speak some sense into them, you got to do what you got to do. Those battles will come. So I pray right now in the name of Jesus that you will just, Lord, continue to give this person the strength to go up against every lie as you see fit, and also give him or her the support system so that they can be able to continue to fight the good fight. I pray in Jesus' name that those liars and deniers and blamers and crazy making people and all of those that are around this individual will shut down, will stop with, speaking all sorts of evil and lies and so forth. I pray in Jesus' name that they will just come up out of this believer's presence and stop stressing him or her out with all of this foolishness. I pray these things in Jesus' mighty name. So I thank you so much for taking the time out, as always, to listen to this message. Please do check the description box for any information that might help you. And also subscribe for the latest messages on this channel. Thank you, and may God richly bless you.